Hey everybody, I'm modeling the mask I just got in the mail today, courtesy of November's Doom in Chicago. And they got the little moon logos and the plague bird from the illustration of their latest album. I hope I'm pointing to the right side. I can't actually see the camera. Hey, I got it right. Yeah, the plague bird was on that side. Anyway, that's pretty cool. It's kind of tight around the ears, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm Ken the Metal Professor, the host of Mostly Metal on WVLP in Valparaiso, Indiana, a weekly heavy metal show goes on for 2 hours, and over the last many weeks I've been doing top 10 lists, alternating between metal and rock. This week's show is going to contain my top 10 favorite songs by Kamelot, so sort of as a supplement to that, I'm here to run through my preference ranking of their albums, or the grabbing order when it's time to listen to Kamelot. What's the order I'm least to most likely to grab them for listening, and then I will tell you my top 10 favorite songs by Kamelot. If you're interested in listening, then the show airs Wednesday at 10 p.m. Central, U.S. Central Time, and unless you're in Valparaiso, you're not going to be doing it on the radio itself. You can check us out at wvlp.org, or you can use the TuneIn Radio app and get us there, WVLP. And this show repeats on Sunday night at 8 p.m. U.S. Central. So I'm recording this Monday. I should have it up on YouTube later Monday night. And then that's 2 days warning before the airplay of this top 10 list for Kamelot. I'm also going to play some new Dark Sarah, new Primal Fear, Rum Ahoy, currently coming along, trying to take over the mantle of pirate metal, from Ailstorm. Some new Pallbearer, for those of you that like stony doomer stuff, Skeletal Remains, and various other goodies as well. But I'm here to talk about Kamelot. I'm going to give you my preference ranking of their 12 CDs. The first one came out in 1995 called Eternity. They've had 3 vocalists. Mark Vanderbilt was the first one on their first 2 albums, and then Roy Khan took over for many albums. And their last 3, they've had Tommy Karavik on vocals. He came over from Seventh Wonder to take on those duties after Roy Khan went off to do his thing. Roy Khan has made a reappearance in Conception, though, which is good to see, but not back with Kamelot. So, when it's time to listen to Kamelot, the album that I'm least likely to grab to listen to is Poetry for the Poisoned from 2010. This was the last album that Roy Khan sang on, and I just don't find this a pleasant album to listen to. There's a couple of songs with some good melodies in there, The Great Pandemonium and Seal of Woven Years, but altogether, there's some weirdness going on in there, and some of the ways that the songs play out, I mean literally, with the vocals playing back and forth with the guitars, and it's just not as melodic as it normally is, and I just kind of go, no thanks. Which is kind of sad, because I want to like Roy Khan's work, and I just, for whatever combination that they wrangled together for that album, doesn't work for me. At number 11 and 10, I'm going to put their first 2. They kind of come as a package. I'll say that Dominion from 97, their second release, will be my number 11, and Eternity from 95, their first release, my number 10. So I like the first release a little bit better than the second release, but it's pretty close. Dominion from 97, We Are Not Separate, has some good hooks to it. Creation is good. Song of Roland is fair. On Eternity, Black Tower and Gleeman are the 2 standout tracks. Gleeman closes the disc, and it's a really, really good song. The thing that hurts these albums is that, it's the mid-90s, not much of a production budget probably for their first 2 albums, so the sound tends to be a little bit tin can basement-y, wham, wham, wham drum noise like somebody's whacking upside down hardware store buckets. And Mark Vanderbilt is in that niche of vocalists that I don't particularly enjoy that much. this is going to sound worse than I mean it, but I call them howlers. High-pitched voices, kind of like John Arch in the early Fates Warning days, where their voices are just constantly kind of going up and down instead of just nailing that note and holding on to it. And I don't know that I like that style so much, so that holds it back for me. Now we're talking Roy Khan at number 9 on his debut with the band Siege Perilous from 1998. Providence and Millennium and Iria are some good standout tracks. This is where they still have one foot in the kind of cheaper production era of Kamelot. Okay, to be fair, I have been totally spoiled by the just slick production of the modern day Kamelot albums, but Kamelot is one of those bands that benefits a lot from slick production. So what can I say? I mean, I enjoy it more when the production is good. But Siege Perilous is getting them in the right direction. Coming up next, at number 8, okay, I'll tell you 8 and 7 at the same time. I'm going to put the 2 albums that were Tommy Karavic's first 2 here. Not Siege Perilous, Silverthorn and Haven. Silverthorn from 2012 and Haven from 2015. These are kind of like Dominion and Eternity. I like them both about the same. They kind of fit together for me as a set. I like Haven a bit more than Silverthorn. I think Silverthorn, they were bringing in Tommy Karevic to be Roy Khan Part 2, whereas on Haven, and then particularly his third album, their most recent, The Shadow Theory, he's really coming into his own as the singer for Kamelot, and that shows. But on Silverthorn, Torn and My Confession in the title track are really good. My Confession is my favorite song on that album. Off of Haven, I love Under Gray Skies, Veil of Elysium, and End of Innocence is spectacular. So that's all good stuff. At number 6, Ghost Opera from 2007. This album would be a heck of a lot higher on this list. I mean, it's halfway up, so it's not like it's a bad position. We're well into the top 10, right? It's punctuated by really good songs and held back by some other songs that to me are a little bit more mediocre. Rule the World and Blucher and Love You to Death. Whew, good. Eden Echo, those are the standouts for me, and those are just superbly good songs. The ones in between those, not so much. So to me, Ghost Opera is a little bit inconsistent, although the good parts are really good. The rest of the albums from number 5 up, I think, are very consistent. Kamelot to me is all about the high points. The songs that I don't like so much, okay, they're there, but the good songs are really good songs. And for these top 5, it's harder to find a song that isn't really good than it is to find the really good ones, if that made any sense whatsoever. At number 5, I'll put The Fourth Legacy from 1999. The title track is great. Nights of Arabia is so much fun. Sailor Man's Hymn is a great mellow tune. Glory is good, just good song after good song. At number 4, there's where I'll put Tommy Karavic's third album, their most recent, The Shadow Theory from 2018. Tommy Karevic is now not... he is a good replacement for Roy Khan because his vocals fit that niche that Roy Khan set up very nicely, but he's developed his own vocal personality, and it's not a new thing for him, right? He was always an established singer with Seventh Wonder, for example, but he's fitting in with Kamelot, and maybe Kamelot's music is drifting in to meet Tommy and getting into his wheelhouse a little bit better, although it was all very, very close anyway. But Amnesiac is good. Burns to Embrace is great. Vespertine, My Crimson Bride, that song is his best work with the band. Number 3, The Black Halo from 2005. Just about every song on here is awesome. The Haunting, Soul Society, Moonlight, Memento Mori, just good stuff all up and down. I mean, that album and the next 2 were 3 in a row, and it is just a spectacularly good run of 3 albums that I put up there with any back-to-back-to-back trilogy of albums from many, many, many other bands. So number 2, Karma from 2001. From the lead track on, I mean, there is no down point to this album. Forever, Wings of Despair, the title track, Across the Highlands, just all really good stuff. And then number 1, what's left is Epica from 2003. Center of the Universe starts it off, and Farewell, Wander, Lost and Damned, all these songs that were just tremendously good concert staples for a long time. Just can never get tired of listening to them. Kamelot's one of those rare birds that there are some songs that once they're done playing, I want to listen to them again. Many bands, the songs are even the really, really good songs. Okay, I've heard it, now I'm ready for something else. I'll go back and listen to that again later. Some of the songs that are Kamelot's best, which I'll tell you my top 10 list in a sec here, I want to listen to them over and over again on repeat. Here I will tell you about my top 10 favorite Kamelot songs as played on Mostly Metal WVLP 103.1 FM in Valparaiso this Wednesday, July 15th, 10 p.m. U.S. Central Time, and replayed the following Sunday at 8 p.m. U.S. Central. Now, the show lasts for 2 hours. The show starts at 10 on Wednesday and 8 on Sunday. The top 10 list is the second half of the show. So that would come on at about 9 o'clock about 11 o'clock Wednesday and 9 o'clock Sunday. But you should listen to the whole thing because there's all sorts of good stuff there. This list was easy, but it was hard. It was easy to come up with my top 5 or 6. I mean, there are Kamelot songs that I just have loved ever since I've heard them, and then you see them live, and then you love them even more. There were a lot of other really, really good songs, but trying to pick out the ones that were going to come in there at 8 and 9 and 10 was just trying to pull them apart out of all the rest of them was really difficult. I spent probably half an hour playing and replaying 2 or 3 different songs to figure out which was going to be my number 10 because they were all so close. Unfortunately, the title track off of The Fourth Legacy didn't make it. I still have it on my sheet. I'm looking at it on my screen. I have 10 through 1, and right above that, where spot 11 would be, is The Fourth Legacy, because I couldn't bear to just delete it altogether. It needed to be represented there. It's a great song. But starting my top 10 list officially at number 10 is Moonlight off of The Black Halo. This has a great melody to it. Nice little instrumental breaks. It's a really good song to be in the back end of the album like it is. I think if it showed up as like track number 2 or 3, that would have harmed it. I think it's better positioned where it sits. At number 9, My Confessions off of Silverthorn, one of Tommy Karavic's first songs, because this is the first album that he did. Although I guess technically it wouldn't be one of his first, because I think, if I remember right, My Confessions is also toward the back end of that album. But he does a really, really good job on it. The next 2 are mellow, and it's kind of strange that 2 mellow tracks are back to back in this top 10. Under Gray Skies off of Haven, also a Tommy Karevic song. He sings a duet there. And A Sailor Man's Hymn with Roy Khan on vocals off of The Fourth Legacy. These are both just tremendously good acoustic melodic tunes. At number 6, Soul Society off of The Black Halo. This is a damn heavy song. I mean, heavy on a Kamelot scale of heavy, right? It's not like it's Opeth or Cataclysm or something like that. But it is a very good sing-along song with a great chorus. Lost and Damned off of Epica with a tremendously energetic chorus to that song. I just love it. At number 4, Vespertine, My Crimson Bride off of The Shadow Theory. I said earlier that this is Tommy Karavic's finest moment so far in Kamelot. I got to see them when they were on the tour supporting this, and being way up at the front, like 15 feet away from him while he was singing this song was just awesome. Number 3, Love You to Death off of Ghost Opera. This is one of those songs that sticks in my head, but I have to hear it again to remember how much I like it. As I was putting this list together, it was driving me nuts that I knew in my head as I made the list. There's a song from I couldn't decide. Was it the Black Halo or was it the Ghost Opera? There's this song, and I know I love it every time I hear it. It's about kind of in that 1/3 to 2/3 way through the album. It's not early. It's not too far back. Probably like track 5 or 6, and I just love it, love it, love it. And it took me a while to figure out which one it was, but once I did figure it out, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, how could I forget about this song? And that's Love You to Death off of Ghost Opera. The chorus on this song will just give you goosebumps. At number 2, the title track, the lead track off of Karma. The song is called Forever. This is one that will probably be in their set lists until the day they stop, as it should be. It's just a really, really good song. And my favorite Kamelot song has always been Center of the Universe off of Epica, mostly because of the chorus. It's one of my favorite choruses in melodic metal whatsoever, not just from Kamelot. That was my top 10 favorite Kamelot songs for what it's worth. As I've been doing these, alternating heavy metal and rock, next week I'm going to do the Alan Parsons Project with my top 10 and my preference ranking for the Alan Parsons albums. And I'm going to include the Alan Parsons albums as well, not just the Alan Parsons Project. So I'll throw in, 3 or 4 on top of what are the classic old Alan Parsons prog rock albums. Because why not? It's all Alan Parsons. Okay, check in then. So I just finished the first round of video for this Kamelot report. This is an epilogue. When I was telling you about my top 10 favorite Kamelot songs, I put them into my radio show every week, and then I do these videos to go along with it. I'm recording this on Monday. The radio show is going to air this Wednesday and the following Sunday. We're pre-recording now because we're not doing things live in the studio, and I've already put the show together. I pre-recorded things for that over the weekend. I sent it off. It's going to go into the stream on Wednesday. As I was telling you my top 10 list, I started out by mentioning that here on my screen I had the Fourth Legacy. It wasn't in the top 10. It was actually there at the top of the list, unnumbered. It would have been number 11, and I put it there because, I wanted it to have at least an honorable mention. And I also told you how, when I finished my list the first time, it bugged me that I knew there was some other song that really needed to be in this list, and it was probably off the Ghost Opera or the Black Halo. And so I dug into those two albums, and I listened to some songs in the middle of the tracks from those two albums until I finally came across Love You to Death. I was like, oh my God, this is the song. And it's one of those songs that I can't keep it in my head. When you're trying to think of a restaurant to go to, and you're going through all the ones that are near you, and that there's a restaurant that every time you try to think of a restaurant to go to, you don't think of it until it's too late. But you can't think of what it is this time, so you pick a different place, and then as soon as you get your food from this other place, you finally remember the restaurant that you should have gone to. Love You to Death is the Kamelot song version for me of that situation, where I just can't think of it at the time, but I know I love it when I hear it. And so I told you how I actually had to go back and cycle through some songs to figure out where that damn song was. And I found it, and I put it in at number 3 on my list because I love that song so much, even though apparently I can't remember it. But it was bugging me when I was going through that list, because when I thought about it, I was like, I'm pretty sure I actually played The Fourth Legacy as a song in the show that I put together. It wasn't just that it was on the sheet. I put it in the show. But I only put in 10 Kamelot songs. So how did that happen? So I opened up my list of songs that I put into the playlist, and you know what? I didn't put in Love You to Death. I had used to put together my show the A.2 version of my top 10 list that was ready to go before I went back and put in Love You to Death in the printed list. And it was the previous version of the list that built the show. And the entire time I was putting my show together and copying Kamelot songs off of my hard drive and putting them into the audio file for the show, it never occurred to me that I wasn't including Love You to Death. I just thought it was funny, and I wanted to share. So if anybody, right, is actually going to watch this video and go listen to the show, then you're going to notice a discrepancy in what I just told you as my top 10 list and what actually shows up on the air, because Love You to Death needs to be my number 3, but it's not in the damn show. I'm fired.